What's the line between a brutally honest friend and a toxic friend? Is their honesty meant to build you up or tear you down? Are they someone who is willing to also tell you good things about yourself, which is also honesty, or do they only focus on the negative? Do they take responsibility if they cross the line, or do they not care and insist that you are being too insensitive? Because if it's any of the latter, then they are a toxic person. In the end, if you really have to ask, then you probably know the answer already. Are they someone who is willing to also tell you good things about yourself, which is also honesty, or do they only focus on the negative? This is the core thing right here. If someone is only honest about perceived faults, then self-proclaimed honesty is just a fig leaf for being judgmental. Great point about positive stuff. True, you rarely hear these "I always speak my mind" types raving about how awesome their co-worker is or what a great wife their buddy picked, how smooth the service was at a restaurant. They only want to be no filter when that means cutting something down. Wow, that is blowing my mind. I had not noticed until you said it. A toxic friend takes obvious pleasure in shocking you with information they know will hurt. An honest friend directly tells you what you need to know, even if it's not what you wish to hear. I had a brutally honest friend who always told me what I needed to hear, and I really appreciated it. But she was never mean about it, she never made personal attacks on my character, or abilities, and she also had excellent judgment on people and situations. A brutally honest friend, boss, colleague, whatever, can be counted on to give you smart and rational advice without unnecessarily hurting your feelings. It's totally different from a toxic person, whose goal is mainly to bring others down. Honest friend, that's awesome that you got to the final round of interviews, but you might want to apply to other jobs just in case you don't get it. The job market is really competitive right now. Toxic friend, there's no way you're getting this job, there are probably tons of people way more qualified than you. Are they brutally honest with you in public? Pointing out your flaws in front of others as if they're trying to embarrass you? Toxic. Are they pontificating about your flaws almost as if they were saying being you wrong, be more like me? Disregarding the intricacies and differences of both of your personalities? Toxic. Do they say mean shit about their friends with you? They say mean shit about you behind your back. Pointing out your flaws in front of others as if they're trying to embarrass you? Toxic. I went to a wine tasting once with two friends. There were several stations, all with both red and white wines. At the first station my friends, who were very experienced wine drinkers, both asked for white. Me, no experience, total novice, asks for red. Toxic friend makes a snarky comment. Confused, I asked what wrong? Most people start with white. Why? Because reds have a stronger taste, so it's usually better to start with white. Well, I tend to prefer reds, so I'd rather taste those first. For the rest of the night, every time we went to a new station, she would walk ahead and loudly announce Garage Queen doesn't like white wines. And then smirk. I asked her why she was doing this. You said you don't like white wines, no? I said I prefer red. That's not the same thing. She did it over and over again. I even said at one point, why are you lying to them? I've told you that you're wrong. Why are you lying about me? She just smirked and kept doing it. I nearly ended up crying and it totally ruined the night for me. Looking back, I can see that my self-esteem issues prevented me from just walking out the door. That and the fact that I paid $25 to be there. If that happened today, I would definitely leave, probably after creating a huge scene. Fuck you, April. You're a miserable, bullying cunt. Edited to add, RIP my inbox. Thanks for all the love, yawn. Who knew that an impulsive, and slightly drunken, rant would lead to this? Have a great weekend. Or at least, a non-terrible one. Do they say mean shit about their friends with you? They say mean shit about you behind your back. I quit a friendship because this major flag combined with 2 other yellow flags. No regrets. A non-toxic friend will respond to critical feedback that their brutal honesty is not welcome, and they will tone it down accordingly. A toxic friend will completely ignore such feedback, or worse, may even step up their behavior out of spite. The honest friend will see the feedback as reciprocated honesty. The toxic friend will see the feedback as an attack. I'm honest, but I'd rather sugarcoat it than throw around insults and calling it constructive criticism. I hate doing either, but the first one is better since the message is still there, but toned down, instead of being overshadowed by offensiveness. I can be too brutally honest when I can't think of a more appropriate response, and there's a time limit. Honesty without tact is cruelty. Seriously. Being tactful lets the person know you have taken the time to see their position, within reason, and are acting in good faith. I wouldn't really be friends with someone who conducted themselves otherwise. I like the similar honesty without empathy as abuse. I have mostly autistic friends, and many are almost incapable of tact. Finding the perfect words, reading cues, it's really difficult for some of us. And if I had a flaw or was making a mistake, and one of my tactless friends noticed and wanted to help me do better, I would much rather they told me, even if they stuck their foot in their mouth something awful and ended up causing an awkward, stressful social mess that ruined both our day. Rather than stay silent and just watch me drive off a cliff, because they were afraid of seeming cruel. I think it's really brave and loving, actually. To do something you know you suck at, that might make people mad, out of a desire to help your loved one live their best life. But while I think some tactlessly honest people are loving friends doing their best despite a disability, yes, some, perhaps even most tactless honesty is indeed willfully cruel. You guys are all missing the bigger picture. The brutally honest friend won't always be being brutally honest. You'll have great times, laughs, and the occasional moment of brutal honesty. The toxic friends will always be toxic. Constant complaints, or comparisons. Twisting words or steering the conversation towards negativity, or being the center of attention. If you can't remember the last time you just had fun together, they're a toxic friend. A good measure of that is how you feel afterward. I mean, you might not feel joyous after you've gotten tough advice from a friend who loves you, but usually you will know that they meant well and can see what they're trying to tell you. If you routinely feel long-term worse after getting advice, the giver may just be toxic. I don't randomly say negative stuff without reason when not being asked though, but I'm always brutally honest when I'm asked about my opinion. That should still be okay, I hope. Genuine question: if multiple people are asked at the same time, I sometimes don't respond or mention that I'm not going to respond to that, which usually, hopefully, shows that I don't agree on STH but don't really know how to phrase it. Might be important to mention that I do that in situations where it's perfectly fine to have different opinions, so I might heavily disagree knowing that the other person should feel that way as well. Like when being asked if I enjoyed STH, my response would probably be STH like I really don't understand what anyone might enjoy about that, but I do understand that people have different tastes, so if people enjoy it, that's good. Depending on how well I know someone, that response might differ, but I might also just say I won't talk about that, as I believe that shows that I personally didn't enjoy it at all, but don't want to ruin it for other people, so I'd rather just skip that topic. The people I know usually know I'm being completely honest about it when they ask me something. When responding to someone I don't really know, usually on the internet, I probably still make my point in that way, so I guess I might seem like I'm attacking an entire fan base, so I always make it extra clear that it's just my own opinion and everyone can feel free to disagree on my opinion as well. I actually got some nice discussions out of that, also tons of insults because I'd assume people didn't understand my intention and or felt attacked. I can understand that, and I don't mind when people attack my reasoning, that's a good thing, or even my opinion, but I don't see why people should just randomly insult a person because they don't agree with their opinion. Brutally honest is fair and has good intentions and should be able to tell when you don't need his opinion. Toxic is just putting you down. Does not try to help you and is inconsiderate of your feelings. Yeah, to me it's about how productive said honesty is. If it has your best interest at heart and comes from a place of care for you, that's what is important. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.